What do you think of what he's doing right now?
But I think I'm not a fan of in terms of winning championships. I don't think that style is ever going to win championships. Not with this style of play, it won't win.
It doesn't matter if I was hurt. How much was I hurt? I was out there, tried to play, but I didn't do enough.
Luka Doncic will never win a ring, at least if he continues like this. Kobe Bryant, years ago, criticized James Harden's high-usage playstyle and said that it'll never be a championship-winning formula. And so far, well, Kobe's been right. Unfortunately, Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks are looking like they're doing the exact same thing, like we just saw after they got destroyed by the Boston Celtics. And now, we're going to be taking a look at the similarities between Luka and Harden, their teams, and how their playoff runs ended, why it's never worked, and what Luka's going to have to do to avoid the same ringless career as the Beard.
James Harden, of course, crazy streak this season. What do you think of what he's doing right now?
But I think I'm not a fan of in terms of winning championships. I don't think that style is ever going to win championships.
You're saying you don't think James Harden and the Rockets, as constructed, can win a title?
Not with this style of play, it won't win.
Years later, 4 seasons after the Black Mamba left us, James Harden is still proving him right. Harden, despite being given everything in Houston and Philly, and now having a super team with the Clippers, is still yet to win a ring. And his chances are getting slimmer and slimmer, unlike him.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no.
Alright, that was mean, but maybe he shouldn't wear a fat suit each time he wants to go to another team. It's a shame that Harden's skill and ridiculous stats in Houston is kind of being forgotten right now, because back then, this man was absolutely electric.
Beverly watches Harden, 2 former teammates. Harden gets around and fires a 3. Thank you, David. Here's Harden with the drive. Harden trying to get free. Down to 3, down to 2. It's a 3. Good!
I thought it was going to be.
That was just a little taste of what we're seeing from prime James Harden. That was the Beard at full force. We were getting stat lines like 60, 10, and 11 versus the Magic, 53, 16, and 17 against the Knicks. And of course, we got that time that he put up 54 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists across 3 games. He also put up these scoring numbers in 2019. That monster in Houston was something else. Machine gun dribble, tween, step back from 32 feet, cash. He had the highlights, he had the stats, he had the fans. But what he didn't have was a ring. However good the Beard was in every regular season, it was the same story in the playoffs. It was always playoff disappointment after playoff disappointment after playoff disappointment for every James Harden team, ever since he was drafted. And this was no more apparent in the 2019 season, where he averaged those 36 big points in the regular season, only to not really have a chance against the Warriors without KD. And something Kobe said in the middle of his regular season run just kept getting proven right. Up until now, James hasn't won a ring, and his prospects are not looking good. But let's switch gears. Remember what I said about James? He had the highlights, he had the stats, he had the fans, machine gun dribble, tween, step back from 32 feet, cash, scoring machine, capable of giving us scoring record after scoring record? Well, we can say the exact same thing about this man. Luka Doncic, one of the most popular players in the league today, competing for the face of the league status. Like James, he's been putting up ridiculous scoring stats. 43 points, 17 rebounds, 13 assists in a win after being down 21 points. The only player in NBA history to produce such stats, which he put up as a 23-year-old sophomore. Oh, he also ended the game with this.
Finney-Smith to inbound. Back to Doncic. Doncic pulls up, 3-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good! Doncic wins the game at the buzzer!
Another ridiculous line is this one. 60 points, 10 assists, and 21 rebounds against the Knicks. That's crazy. And of course, he had a ridiculous clutch highlight in the clutch.
Shocks me about this game.
And that Drew rim, it's still loose. Luka got it back!
But it gets even better, because his most recent ridiculous stat line was this one. 73 points against the Hawks. The highest game score this century. Second all-time only to MJ. He is truly a scoring and statistical monster, but you knew that already. And if you didn't know, you know. 34 PPG this past season with 9 rebounds and 10 assists a game. 29 points per game for his career. but he is yet to get his first ring in the NBA. A couple of first-round exits, one conference finals loss, and of course, an NBA Finals appearance, and a very unfortunate trend is that he always seems to just run out of steam eventually. Something he also shares with James Harden. This is reason numero uno of why this style of play will never work. It's far too demanding on the body. Even on James Harden, who was much more fit in his prime, we could see him just run out of steam, physically and mentally. That's what causes him to do things like, say, only shoot 11 shots and score 10 points in an elimination game, and just check out and score just 9 points in a Game 7 against your team's most bitter rivals. We can already see some of these lapses with Luka too. I remember Game 3 against the Celtics, with his team mounting a furious comeback, down 20 plus at one point. They whittled it down to just 3, but then he doesn't think of his 5 fouls and just trying to play a bit of defense. He tries to go draw a charge, which is, quite frankly, leaving too much to chance. You can't do that when you're your team's only hope, and you're on 5 fouls already. He just eventually gets gassed, and as we've seen against Boston, he tends to have some poor tendencies. This leads to poor decisions, poor turnovers, and indeed unnecessary fouls. Numero dos of why Kobe was right and why Luka won't win a ring with his playstyle is due to the lack of a plan B, or the existing plan B being trash. When the shots are failing, Steph Curry will run around and use his gravity for spacing. LeBron will truck to the ring. Tatum will drive and kick, providing spacing and movement and play good defense. But for guys like Harden, Luka, and even someone like Joel Embiid, the plan B is to foul bait, which is good in the regular season, but not so good in the playoffs, when you just won't get the same calls. And you can see Luka get frustrated with this, again leading to the poor tendencies that we discussed earlier. He has to get his teammates involved and do better in elevating their game. You'll point out his assist numbers, but I'll count that there's more to elevating your teammates than just kicking the ball out to them. Which leads me to numero tres, of why Luka won't win a ring with his playstyle. And this is the big one, because this will show exactly how Luka can avoid the James Harden fate and give himself a much better chance of winning a ring. And that is the concept of playing off ball. Like Harden, Luka's usage rate is through the roof. This is the similarity that really pulls them together and is the cause of all the problems that we mentioned. Peak Harden had a usage rate in the high 30s. Now, here's Luka's. Few points here. 1, these are high. For context, here's Steph. Here's LeBron in Cleveland and LA. Both Curry and LeBron never reached a 35% usage rate in any season. By the way, usage rate basically calculates the amount of time a player has on the ball while shooting, assisting, turning it over, and shooting free throws. At such a young age, Luka's already far exceeding Bron and Curry's usage rates. Two very successful and decorated players, and that's because they've learned to play off ball. Steph knows when to let Draymond or someone else bring the ball up and set plays. He runs and runs and runs around the court trying to get open, which spreads the defense, giving his teammates tons of space. LeBron does this by setting screens and being a role threat, as well as by cutting for easy looks. Luka, unfortunately, mirrors Harden. They need the ball to impact the game. They won't have an impact on the game once they give up on the rock. They have to have the ball in their hands to put up their numbers, and like Kobe said, to will the team to get wins in the regular season. Unfortunately, it comes at the cost of bumping out in the playoffs and having the issues that we discussed earlier. Not only does this cause them to burn out, it deprives their teammates of the space that they could get. Harden has not really figured this out yet, which is why he'll probably permanently be proving Kobe's words right. But Luka, he's still extremely young in NBA superstar terms. He's got plenty of time to get better, both physically and mentally. Luka's got plenty of time, and he's a very intelligent player, so it shouldn't be long before he figures it out. Playing off ball solves a bunch of problems for Luka. He won't get gassed too soon. He'll be able to make better judgments because of that. He'll give his team even more spacing by shifting the defense, and he'll give more and better chances for his teammates to make shots and get their confidence up. A much more sustainable way of playing basketball, and one that's way more likely to win Luka a ring. He's a competitor and he wants to win. Luka will know what it takes to win after winning with Real Madrid and coming so close to a ring this year. Tatum and Brown had to lose their first finals to grow and be better, to eventually get the 18th banner for Boston. It's the same for Wilt, LeBron, Dirk, and many more. There are lessons from losing, and Luka's lesson is to learn to play and be effective without the ball. It's the one thing that stands between him being an NBA champion and proving Kobe's point again while being the white, beardless James Harden.